in criminal justice over the last 40 years. And he says that their major role has not been the legislation they've been able to pass, because we know that they are only a minority there. He said the major effect they've been able to have is to reduce and delete some of the draconian measures that are in the legislation. So he says that if they had not been there, the legislation would be much worse than what we've had coming out of Congress. So as we move forward, I think we have an opportunity. I think, many times we sit around and talk about, what's happening in Capitol Hill and how things have changed for the bad. But I think we have an opportunity now, with all this emphasis on the budget and cost cutting. One of the major areas where we're spending a lot of money is in the criminal justice area. And you even hear in some conservatives now saying that we need to reduce the prisoners, reduce the prison population. So it gives us an opportunity now to try to look at how do we cut criminal justice costs. Because we bring this, we can't bring it there from a humanitarian perspective, because nobody wants to hear that. Who cares about prisoners besides those of us in this room? So what we need to do is present it from a budget perspective, how we can save money. And the fact that we have criminalized so many things that were not criminal offenses when many of us were children, when many of us were teenagers. And so we need to look at what are some of the laws that need to be taken off the books. If we decriminalize some of these things, we can save a lot of money, because there are a lot of people incarcerated for offenses that many times, if those things were on the books when we were children, many of us would be in prison also. All right. And Reverend Jackson talked about we need to look at this whole movement to, again, strip felons. We had a good momentum going to try to get the right to vote for ex-felons who have served their time. And now you have a movement going backwards. So we need to be monitoring that. We need to look at, and this is for the preachers in the room, the preachers and the church-going people. Let's start providing more moral leadership. Where's the churches out there with leading the efforts around reducing incarceration, but also in terms of preventing some of our young people from going in the wrong direction? So that's my charge to you. People in small towns, I think one of the worst things that's happening is what's happening with a lot of people in small town justice. We have, Reverend Jackson talked about what happened in Chula, Mississippi. That's happening in a lot of places across the South, and probably in the Midwest and the West, the East Coast too. And so you have these prosecutors who are out of control. We talk a lot about police discretion, but we need to talk about prosecutorial discretion also. We put in sentencing law to put restrictions on judges who are supposed to be more educated, but we have prosecutors out there who are being elected, and they are creating dynasties in terms of putting people in prison. And then let me just give this example, because Ron is going to run me out of here. In Louisiana, where I grew up, they have privatized a lot of the prisons, so it's a whole industry going down there. And so the prosecutor can get people sent to the prison so that his buddies can make more money in prisons. And then they are contracting out with private businesses where they're getting reduced labor, and then we don't have jobs. Right. So I think there are a lot of things for us to look at, and I hope a lot of this is going to come out when we start talking about where do we go from here, because we don't want to spend a lot of time looking backwards. We want to spend time looking forward. Thank you.
All right. Told you. Dr. Scott, thank you. Told you. I know in Pennsylvania there's a judge being prosecuted because with their buddies they were sending young black men to jail. It was a private jail to make money. Those who are standing, there's some seats here and there. Everybody okay? We're responsible for each other. We got to look out for each other. So folks who need to sit down, please come down and sit. I've been informed that Amara Woods, Director of Foreign Policy and Focus, IPS, is here in the house. Please give a round of applause.